Welcome back, sinners. We've got another great episode for you. Tonight we're joined by TheCobbGoblin, TikTok's resident mixologist. We're going to go over such topics as the color language in Magic, um, enjoying couches, the Sip Stream, which is Cobbgoblin and Magic New Girl's new streaming show, making money on socials, the Pennsylvania Amish, and the Magic story, the current state of it, and what we think of it. Also, throughout tonight's episode, there's going to be a couple references to this being our first official episode back from our break. It's obviously not. If you've been paying attention, this is like episode 3, if you count the bonus episode. Some real-life things happened that forced us to rearrange our posting schedule, so just ignore that. Pretend we don't say that. This is the 3rd episode back, but anyway, without further ado, welcome back to Snarg's House of Sin.
I can feel the spark. Always getting power. Even dead of night, I will be yours.
Welcome back, everybody, to Snarg's House of Sin, the show that has been on hiatus for, 2 months at this point. We're not sure. We're not sure when we're coming back. We're not sure when you're going to hear this episode. But we're back if you're hearing this. And if you're not, obviously we're not. Maybe we stopped being friends and all these episodes just went in the dumpster. Highly likely at this point. Anyway, we are back with an exciting guest. TikTok's resident Magic the Gathering mixologist, the bartender, the one, the only, the Cobbgoblin. Huh?
Well, hang on. You can't call him the bartender, the one, the only, because Sullivan's a bartender.
There are 2.
That's actually very fair. Okay. The human bartender, the one, the only, because Sullivan's a monster.
There we go.
Sullivan doesn't listen to our show anyway. And if you do, I'm deeply sorry, friend.
We don't know that.
We need to have him back on. That episode is terrible. Anyway, Cobb, how you doing, man?
Doing well.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to coming on since I saw you guys go live in February. So this has been pretty fantastic.
Oh, wow. An OG fan.
Oh, man. No, so I asked Doggo. I don't ask for a lot of guests because I don't watch content. All right. But you were a guest that I asked for because I was like, oh, this drink guy, he's pretty funny and he makes drinks. Let's have that guy. And he's like, yeah, maybe.
Oh, come
and then
on.
This is good.
I was not hesitant at all. I was 100% open.
This is how the sausage gets made, where Dago just does not like me. This is good.
He's like, yeah, maybe. I think it was because like you were new-ish to see, right? So he's only seen like one video or so.
You are making up a
No?
whole story and making me sound like such an elitist asshole.
This is good.
We have had.
I'm not saying new-ish like not worthy. I'm saying new-ish as in he has not.
It's my time to defend myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Half of our guests are not the biggest content creators. They're new and up and coming. So that had I was not opposed to that at all. And
not because he was new.
And we can pull up the chat. We can expose the chat in real time.
I do appreciate how I'm just like I'm not here. Don't worry about it, guys. This is
it's
great.
Better Call Saul all over again.
Oh, this is essentially this is exactly what I do as a bartender. Sit there and watch you guys discuss stuff and wait till eventually I get engaged. It's fine. I can be over here making drinks. It's fine.
All I'm going to say is when she threw your name out there, I immediately was on board because I had been watching your content and I had been enjoying it. And when she suggested it, I said, oh, hell yeah.
I believe you were making a Magda deck, not the Brazen Outlaw, the first one. And I said, I already did a cocktail on this one. And I linked you to that was the second video I did, was Magda. Not the Brazen Outlaw, but it was the one from Kaldheim. So...
yeah.
And then I also have done a Mr. Orfeo.
Actually, I think wasn't Brazen Outlaw from Kaldheim?
I thought Brazen Outlaw is from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction because somehow.
No. I think they did a secret layer with her in Thunder Junk. Because
there's
no way I would have built a deck around a Thunder Junk commander. I hate that whole stuff.
No, they did a regular they did a different Magda in Thunder Junction, but there was Brazen Outlaw. Oddly enough, not in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. I just knew who she was. But yeah, that was my second drink that I made.
Yeah. because that was my first set in Magic. Well, technically, I have such a confusing, like, you know, when people are like, "Oh, I started Magic this year," and blah 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 blah. I have such a weird like lineage because I started when I was a child
Lineage.
with 7th edition,
Same. You started.
but I only played 7th edition and then stopped playing all the way to Cold.
I did. I popped in at Mercadian Masks and Prophecy, and then the original Invasion block,
Oh wow!
and 6th edition. But yeah, the original Invasion block was mine. That's actually how I became a 5-color player. Was because the original Invasion block first. It was the first time it really made it viable, minus the Sliver Queen, to be a 5-color player. So
Yeah,
I ran a 60 card. I ran a 60 card deck with Chromat and
Wow.
Coalition Victory in it, specifically to just win games.
see, I was a black-red player before there was a whole ass language you had to learn to describe your decks. Back then, we didn't call it what is black-red?
It's Rakdos.
Rakdos?
It's Rakdos. Markdos
Whatever,
says
I'm
white,
not-
And also,
black, red,
whoa!
white.
Mardu was actually one of the cons too. That's from the cons of Takir set. Whether it's the pre-time, the regular timeline or the alter timeline.
Which is past 7th edition.
Yes,
isn't
it's
it?
it's much
Yes,
further
it's
past
after
it.
So that's
7th
that's my
edition.
point. We didn't have this stupid language. Like I've put my foot down. There's one thing I refuse. Like I'll learn combos. I'll learn this. I'll learn formats. Whatever. I refuse to learn the color combo language because I find it so silly.
Why? It makes everything so much more cohesive. So you know what you're
no,
talking
Just be
about.
divisive, man.
Before-
Because hold on. So if I said my deck is red blue, you don't know what I'm talking
We would
about
all respond
because I
with,
didn't say is it.
wow,
Well, I mean, it's. I'm gonna say it's is it obviously because I have an is it tattoo,
I know way too many people have is it
It's
tattoos.
dumb.
but
This whole thing is dumb.
like
It's easy to talk about.
before, a black, white, green deck would be called junk. Do you want your deck to be called junk?
No, I would just say black, white, green.
So now it's
That's-
Asban.
That's too many words.
Absan, yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So instead you're gonna
It's
learn
too
a
many
whole
words.
language. That's dumb.
yeah.
Look, out here. How about I make a compromise? Be divisive. Like, only call it the 3 colors by the name of their dragon from the original Invasion block. You're like, no, I don't play.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't play Treva's colors. And you're like, no, dear gods is not my stuff. I only play Corrosis. Like, everyone's like, what is he talking about?
Or how about be a real troll and back when it wasn't that long ago when Strixhaven tried to rename a lot of the
Oh
color
yeah, do that
combos.
too.
No.
I learned only those instead.
So
So I'm like,
so,
I'm playing.
so
I'm
God,
playing
Prismari.
So only learn Strixhaven and Streets of New Capenna color combinations, just and then like
Yes.
and then deadpan be like, I don't know what you're talking about. These are the only color combinations that matter. Like so, anyways,
Yeah.
I'm playing Silver Quill. Like
Oh, Silver Quill. I'm really excited for the bats and
I already pulled
Bloomburrow.
out Bandit's Talent to go into my mono black deck because I'm excited about that, and that has a bat on it. But it's like a rack at home.
I am sad that they don't have like little clan group symbols because I would get the bat.
they just
one.
have
Oh,
they
you
just
mean
have
like-
animals
you mean
behind
like
it.
that, like the guilds.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the guilds. They're
Isn't bats
just
Demir?
Yeah.
animals.
The bat's Demir. Black
No,
white.
black's
Yeah,
black.
they're black, white.
Silver Quill.
I
Yeah,
know this
and not
'cause
Orzhov.
I did my first pre-release since Kaldheim. I did the Bloomburrow pre-release,
Wow.
and I went 0-2-1. I got my ass kicked.
I cannot get. I am for as much as I play Commander and as much as I play Standard, I cannot wrap my head around limited formats. I just don't know how to play because I always start building off the rares no matter what. I'm like, ooh, shiny, pick the rare, and I don't.
That's what everyone
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. So like I'm terrible at draft because I just pick the best card of the pack even if it's not in the colors that I'm supposed to be in. So I'm terrible at draft. But sealed pools, I'm actually pretty good at building a deck out of sealed because you do look at your rares first. And if you have like a bomb or something that's really good, you go off of that. And then you make sure that you have the colors to back it up. And sometimes you don't. So sometimes you got to be like, oh, this is a really good bomb. that only has like one color pip, so I can splash that in because if I play this, I win. And then you go with the stack that's
Yeah,
thicker that
I've
you
done
have
this
more cards
limited a
to
few
pull from.
times, and limited and draft. I'm talking about both of those. My brain just does not like. I was like, but I need all my other cards. My other cards make this deck better. Where are my other cards? Like
Yeah.
it's like Dennis from It's Always Sunny. He's like, my tools. I need my tools.
Yeah. I'm absolute.
I do
Oh,
not get that.
It's
a-
fine. You don't get any.
it's-
You don't get any pop culture
it's
references.
Dennis Reynolds is a serial killer joke.
She doesn't even know who Dennis Reynolds is. She's seen like 4 TV shows ever.
And one of them must be Pokemon.
Like,
So
yeah.
I have watched Pokemon. I've watched like Pokemon Origins and the Pokemon, like the first Pokemon
see, there's your
from
segue,
Ash.
Izzy.
And like
Except it's way too.
oh, there's
it's
a new
way too early.
Houndoom card
We've not
coming
done
out.
The other topic. We're 11
Too
minutes
bad.
into the episode, and you're already segueing into new topics. Oh God! Welcome
was
back,
the topic
everybody,
we were
to
talking
Snarg's
about?
House of Sin.
Look, it was an easy.
Bloomburrow?
It was an easy.
Oh, the
shoehorn.
guilds. Look, I got the D&D guild book.
ADHD's a bitch, isn't it?
It is. It's a bitch
I
and a
love it.
co-host too.
And it's got like the different like characters. Like you can get like Lazav. And look, there's Zagana and who's on this page? Oh, some
This is
Leslie and shit.
fascinating for people
It's
listening to us on Spotify.
well, they should be watching.
I'm glad
us
this
on
is a
YouTube.
visual medium as a podcast on Spotify. I also have D&D books. What are we doing here?
Yay! Look, D&D books. Hooray!
I actually here. Hold on. Either keep the conversation going or shut and cut this, because I have a D&D book that puts all of your D&D books to shame.
Oh, it's an old one. Does it have jewels encrusted?
No. So my store was doing buy 2 D&D books,
Oh,
get one.
I
for
didn't
free.
realize it was straight up for Ravnica. That's much cooler.
Yeah. I got the Ravnica one, I got the Strixhaven one, and then I got keys from the Golden Vault. Alternate art.
I have back
What is
from
that?
TSR Gaming. This is the Encyclopedia Magica for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition.
Ooh.
And this is the greatest D&D book ever made. And for our listeners at home, if you've never heard of this, buckle in because it's amazing. Okay, so way back in the day, right? Okay, wizards weren't in
It was a Wednesday,
first
by the way.
edition and early 2nd edition. Wizards were not in D&D. They were mages. So it was
They're
the mage
fingies.
class instead
Their
of the
fingies
wizard
were not.
class, right?
Mhm.
And so they changed it to wizard from mage. But this book had already been like half like produced and ready to go. And so they had to go back, and the editors for each section of the book had to go change all the instances of wizard to image. Well, a certain editor who will never work in the industry ever again got lazy and used a very primitive Windows like 95 version of an image replacer or a word replacer. So basically I'm sorry, I think I have it. Yeah, no. Mage became wizard. That's right. Yeah. So he had it change every instance of mage to wizard automatically, and then didn't review his work, sent it off to the publisher, and it got published. Now you're probably asking, why is that a problem? Well, the problem,
Is it like
No,
Wizard Hand?
image.
every instance of the word damage and image became da wizard and I wizard.
Yeah.
And so there's an entire and I've bookmarked sections. There's parts in this book. And this got published. You could buy this. This was like a product. Let's see. Yeah, so user can't be attacked through this eye wizard, but can be identified. And it's like the entire back forth of the book. Anywhere it would say like take 5 damage, it says take 5 to wizard.
And that man
This is
and
the
that man
best
who did
D&D
that
book
I
of
love
all
it.
time.
was Mike Pence. And surprisingly enough, started running the country. So we just let him through, guys.
Yeah, I did like I've been
Jesus.
planning a video on this for like literally 2 years, but I want to do it so well, like full documentary style. I looked hard. The editor who made this mistake, I cannot find any instance of him working in like publishing ever again.
Yeah, he
I
lived in
think he was
Indiana.
blacklisted from the industry.
Lives in Indiana, changed his name to Michael Pence, like decided to start running for government.
Jeez.
And then changed his name to Vance. Started fucking couches.
Oh yeah, we're
Anyway.
doing this. Oh, good.
Those
Good.
poor couches.
No, I think we do. I think
Poor
we do technically
couches.
have like one or two right-leaning listeners, so we won't be too mean to them.
Or their couches.
Fuck your couch.
Well, quite literally, they did. Ah!
So-
Allegedly.
Okay, hang on. You guys have
This is news.
penises.
Allegedly.
So,
See,
allegedly,
these are
you
the kind
do.
of segues
Doggos is-
that I deal with on a regular basis.
Well, no. It has to do with fucking
Well, then
couches.
put-
So, if you were to fuck a couch, are you like? Is it like in the cushions, right? Because it's got like, because it would like squish your dick.
I wouldn't
Like,
fuck
is
a
that-
couch, so
Whoa, prude.
I don't know how it would be done.
I'm just curious on the
All right, so what you gotta do
mechanics
is you want to make sure you have the couch
of
laid
how.
out, and then you pick the right section of pillows. You want to actually add in a few more pillows on both sides to give it a little more tension, no matter where you're going for. Yeah, to squish. And then you
squish,
get the,
right?
you get the latex glove
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a little bit of Vaseline. And I only know this because my buddy JD Vance told me exactly how he did it in his book, Hillbilly Elegy, pages 197 to 201. AP, come fact check, please.
I was at Barnes and Noble the other day, and they had a stack of that book, and somebody literally asked, "Is this the version where he fucks a couch?" And apparently, it's not.
Oh,
It's been edited
So
out
sad.
of future releases. But now I don't know about fucking couches,
Okay.
but if you've got 2 sponges, a cup, and a latex glove, you can make a really nice makeshift girlfriend.
yeah. I think you've talked about that on
Did I?
a previous,
is-
like a
That's-
early episode. I remember you talking about it. I don't know if it was like an after episode
I
thing or
feel like
not.
it was probably an after episode, but I mean, it's not that hard. You basically, you
Maybe.
take the 2 sponges, you put the glove in the middle, you reach the glove around so it kind of makes like a pocket, and then you do all that inside a cup so that you have like something you can really grip and get in there, and then you know.
I wonder if we'll ever have an episode that doesn't involve not safe for work.
We almost did for the candy episode.
I was under the
with
impression
Sullivan,
So
and then you
close.
started talking about eating Pop Rocks off penises.
I thought that this was
House of
Snarg's
Sin?
House of Sin. I knew what I was coming on here.
Snarg's House
I just,
of Prayers.
I'm surprised about how quick it devolves into.
Well,
I did
you
it this
literally
time.
asked us how
It's
in
my
the world
fault.
we fuck a couch. So
Yeah.
I was really curious about the mechanics, like.
So the
I
Sip
don't-
Stream
Mm.
starring
Yeah.
the Cobbgoblin
this is a good
and
segue.
Magic New Girl. We were blessed enough to be the inaugural guests on said Sip Stream.
So,
I didn't know we were
so
the
it
first
was-
ones
so
until
it was-
they
you
told
guys
us we were the
ones
first
when we were doing it
ones.
on Twitch. We gave a quick trial run 2 weeks beforehand, but you guys were our big debut episode. We got our first one that was not in the can. We just did it on TikTok Live only. Callie was feeling under the weather, so I had to do it. And I wanted to make sure, like, because when you start off something new, it's so easy not to start something. So it's like,
Yeah.
we could have easily not done our first one and just passed. But I had booked the people we had. We still had a good time, a lot of good gameplay, and I'm glad that one didn't get recorded at all because my Tiamat deck did absolute dick in that entire episode. And I'm sitting here over here just like, fine guys, let's talk about Nadu and Modern. Let's talk about like all this other stuff. I was literally leading the conversation, drawing land, and like Tiamat would not play for me, and it's because I just recently took all of her lands out to put inside a Pioneer deck, and she let me know how displeased she was that she doesn't get the proxy lands, she gets the real lands. So
Tiamat is an angry mistress.
Yeah.
well, that's what you
So
get
for
that's
the
get
listeners
courting a
at
dragon
home,
god.
For the listeners
you
at
know.
home who did not view the Sip Stream, what is the Sip Stream? Tell us a little bit about it.
So about a few months ago, Magic New Girl and I were sitting there talking, and we realized like we had played a game on a Saturday night, and we had been drinking, and it was a lot of fun. and we were having a good time, and like it was just like good energy all around, and we were just chatting it up. And then the next week we had 3 people ask us, they're like, hey, are you we're gonna use it, did you guys use her name in her episode?
Callie?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
hey, are you and Callie running games again? And I was like, we had people, I talked to her, it's like, we have people asking us if we're running a pod. And I was like, I think we can do something with this. I was like, you and I both enjoy like playing Magic and having a drink and talking with friends. Why not do this together? I was like, we can kind of work together on this. I can work on being a really good interviewer, and you still work. Her whole deal is learning together, being together new. And I'm not going to lie to you. I am not a very cute girl playing Magic, and she is. So, like, she has a little more of a pull for an audience than I do. And so, like, we kind of agreed this was going to be a good way of collaborating together and kind of working it. So, yeah. That's how we kind of started up, came up with the idea. I'm really good with alliterations. And so I was like, how about the Saturday sip stream? Alliterations just really scratches
That's pretty good.
That just scratches the good parts of my brain. And then I mentioned, I was like, I don't want it to be like your average stream that comes on and people are just like chatting away in the comments and the chat runs away with it. I really like to be a little more structured. I really wanted to have it like, don't get me wrong, we can engage with the chat, but I feel like that kind of gets a little, you no longer have control over your own stream, what's going on. Now you're sitting there and subject to the chat. So yeah, we can engage with the chat, but I don't want it to be an entire conversation with us in the chat and just kind of like willy-nilly running a game. So
it's a show and they're here to watch it.
That's kind of what I was wanting to go with. So
yeah.
I was explaining it to her. I was like, hey, what I want to run it, and is like, I'm going to ask interview style questions, or just like ask questions about our guests, like let people get to know. So it's less of a like just watching your favorite creators play, but it's also getting to know some of your favorite creators as you watch them play Magic. Give it a different side of them. So our next episode, which by the time this comes out will have already aired, our next episode has Talia Vess and Bones from Kaleva Cosplay, and I'm saying that wrong. But
yeah, you are. It's fine. They're longtime friends of the show, Calavera.
Oh wow!
And my wife is Hispanic, and I butcher it all the time too.
So I'm just gonna call her Bones.
Yeah, we love Bones.
So yeah,
Bones is the easier. That's why I love that she has 2 identities.
So
she was actually the replacement host for one episode for Iz.
All right,
she was me. Yeah, she was me when I was having.
But it's the lost episode that may never be, because more things went wrong than could not have. I mean, that's a rough. Shuck's computer literally exploded trying to edit the episode.
That's a rough life there. But yeah. So they're going to be our next guests on there. I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
Especially like
Talia's good people too.
I've never met her. I've been a follower of hers for years on both TikTok and apparently not Instagram until this week. But I will tell you, like I told Callie today, I was like, look, my picture being on a Talia Vess story, let alone like Instagram's thing, I was like, that's so far out of like anything that I was ever going to be a part of. And then all of a sudden on her story today, I was like, that's my face. Oh my goodness. So like I felt pretty riding high. So now I'm also stressing out, like, I gotta be the best interviewer. I need to know. I need.
Oh damn it! I've got important people now.
I can tell you a little bit. I'll give you a little
sneak
peek, because by the time this airs, these are already up.
You'll be like 4 more guests in by the time this episode airs.
So our next guests, then the following ones are going to be, we have the Jank Bats boys. They're both coming on together. Talking to them, and then we have to round out August, we have Senpai Gabe and TKO. So we're gonna be talking anime and manga. So a full episode of that. It was kind of,
that should be fun.
It should. It was kind of cool though when I told my normie friends who don't play Magic or just Magic adjacent. I know one guy, I helped him build a Krinko deck from his Goblin King deck that was all vintage. I told him, I was like, yeah, I think Senpai Gabe's gonna be coming on August, and he was like, you got Senpai Gabe? That guy, what? And I was like, yeah, he's pretty cool.
I don't
we can.
I don't mean to call you out.
Talk to
it's
him.
Senpai Gabe.
Oh really?
Yeah, if your friends are gonna nerd out about him, you might want to get his name right.
Yeah, well, Like, man, I've been calling
Yeah,
it Senpai Gabe.
Senpapi.
It is Senpapi.
Because he's from, I believe he's from Puerto Rico.
Oh, I've got
He's some kind of Hispanic.
I've got
So that's
I've
where
got
the
enough
poppy
of
comes
mild
from.
dyslexia that I've always read. It is, man. I just literally.
It's all good. I got to know Gabe in Chicago at the last Magic Con. We all kind of hang out and had some drinks, played some Magic. I got to know him pretty well. He's a good dude. He's a good guy.
Oh yeah, it's just kind of funny when my normie friends go, "Wow, you got that guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's actually pretty down to earth."
Yeah, I did.
So
Yeah.
I like when people accidentally have like a large following, like this. fucking guy.
Accidentally? Wow, what a bitch. It's like, I love it when people don't deserve their following, like this guy right over here.
Well, no, so like
It's
the stuff with
jealousy
TikTok
talking.
is
that's jealous talk right there.
a little bit.
It's not even.
It's a
not
little
even
bit
just
of
TikTok.
jealousy.
I'm blowing up on Instagram now too.
Are you really?
About a month
With
ago,
Reels?
I had 235 followers. As of today, the last time I checked,
Nice.
2,058.
Oh, wow.
So my reels,
Nice. Are you
yeah,
posting
it's just
your
reels. My reels have been
yeah.
exploding, like 100,000 plus views.
Is it just your old content, or are you doing?
It was for a while, until I got caught up. Now it's just multi-posting between TikTok and Instagram.
That's all that I've been doing.
Weren't you super against Instagram?
I still am.
Like
No, I still
a
am.
couple of months ago.
I still 100% am.
Oh, okay.
And well, I mean, my thing, and it's look, you know, we've had this conversation with many content creators, and I am the fringe, you know, opinion on this. And I, truthfully, if we're being honest, which at Snarg's House of Sin, honesty is our biggest flaw. I don't think a lot of creators in this space are super honest about what it is they want out of this. I think everybody plays it off like, oh, you know, I don't want, you know, it's not about money. It's about this, that, and the other. But they want the money. Like, everybody wants the money. Everybody wants to be able to make money doing this.
What world are we living
and
in?
My big thing
that it's not about money. Like,
yeah, right. In this economy, and also like,
the economy.
you're telling me that if I laid before you two choices, you can keep going to your slave labor job where you're never gonna retire and be working until you're 98 years old and die at the job, or you can get paid making videos about a card game at your house, hanging out with your friends. Obviously, you take the money option. And my whole thing is that Instagram is just the least like lucrative path for content creation. So
I mean, it is
when
now.
I
Not
hear
used to- it used to be.
creators,
Instagram used to be the lucrative path until TikTok came around.
well, it was for a while because it was the easiest place to get brands, but that, like, not in super niche spaces. Like, if you're one of the old school like video game creators, you didn't get big through Instagram. You got big through YouTube. A lot of the like hipstery creators got big through TikTok, and it's because TikTok and YouTube have creator funds. There's an actual monetary goal that you can reach. If you hit 10,000 followers, you can start making money. If you hit 5,000 followers, you can do the TikTok shop and start selling things.
It was 1,000
Stuff
followers
like that.
for all of like a week, and I was hovering around
Yeah.
it. It wouldn't let me hop in on it. I was like, "Are you kidding me, man? I'd
Yeah.
rather sell dragon shields. Just put me on there." Like,
I think they realized real quick that they were giving out way too many free samples, and were like, shit, dude, we gotta... Because TikTok pays for those. Like, when you get a free sample from a shop, they're not actually giving you a free sample. TikTok is paying them the cost of the sample to send it to you to make shoppable videos.
I mean,
so they probably realized that was a mistake. But anyway, back to my point. It's not that I'm against Instagram, because obviously I'm using it. It's a platform for you to get your name out there, I guess. But my whole thing was just that, you know, in TikTok and YouTube, there's an actual achievable goalpost. Whereas Instagram, if you're not a model or you're not like a fashion person or a music person, I just don't see Instagram being that much of a like lifter for Magic the Gathering content creators. But
this is the first time I'm learning that Doggo is not indeed a model. So like that was kind of
That's not true. He has an OnlyFans.
Oh, I
so
know, I
don't
found
let
it.
him lie to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're in a Discord together, and I put it out there, and every time I say it, I know no one's ever believing me. No one ever believes me when I tell them I have an OnlyFans, and I always throw it out there because I know nobody's gonna look. And then this man puts a screenshot of my page, and I'm like, ah, shit, he looked, he found it.
He looked.
There's no
Shit.
wieners on there. It's literally a single picture of my feet. You can DM me though for additional feet pictures. Just feet.
Just feet.
My wife doesn't want me putting my wiener and or butthole on the internet.
That's fair.
Oh, I was talking to somebody in Baltimore. I won't name them, but they got one of their most out of pocket compliments that they got being a model person was that they have a very beautiful butthole.
Hey,
God, I would love to receive that
if
compliment.
you got it, flaunt it, you know?
And they're like, it's a little strange.
When I tell you,
but
I would have that printed on a shirt. Like I would screenshot the DM or however they got the compliment. It's they, right? Just it's they.
It's they.
However they got the compliment, I would screenshot it, have that printed on a shirt, and that's all I would wear all the time. I'd get 5 shirts printed so I could wear it 5 days a week.
Oh, speaking of shirts, the canceled Dogodude shirt is like 3 sales behind my OnlyLands products.
I see your OnlyLands shirt floating around a lot in the community. Like, it's surprising how many people have that shirt.
So, it's a combination of people getting my OnlyLands shirt and then China found it. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Somebody like DM'd a screenshot to me on like Facebook or something like that. They're like, "Hey, these people are stealing your shirt." And I'm like, that's a fake Chinese company. I could try, but it is not even worth the effort.
You put something on the internet and it's bound to happen. But anyway, the sip stream.
But yeah.
Cool.
We're done talking about buttholes.
How quickly we devolved.
But yeah, that's really cool.
I had a lot of fun.
It was a really fun show.
I had a lot of fun on the sip stream. I feel like I did not take the assignment of building my deck correctly, and I feel like I was unjustly targeted in the beginning, playing the only card that I played basically the entire game. But
we were just.
I had fun.
You were an easy target there to
I think you would have done
better. So that was especially since I was playing a ramp deck with it specifically involves me searching my library for lands.
So, for the viewers who did not watch the sip stream, I was told to build a deck. Any deck I want. I asked what power level. They said just make it a long game. And I was like, all right, I don't know. I built a Ren and Siri deck. And I just went onto Scryfall. And I was like, cats, dogs, putting it in there. And my turn 2 play was a Leonin Arbiter, which is players cannot search their libraries unless they pay 2 mana. And then everybody said that I was the threat and tried to kill.
And that Arbiter to go away the next 2 turns. And then just Doggo and I decided to rip on you for a good 30 minutes until I did read the chat. They go, I think she's been ripped on enough. And we're like, and I was like, all right, we can move
never
on.
enough.
I was like,
there is no enough.
We can move on.
Yeah, no, you absolutely deserved to be bullied. Because you are correct. You absolutely misunderstood the assignment. But
I did.
Honestly, though, like, I've noticed that a lot in, like, especially Commander, that I think you...
Oh, I thought you were going to say I noticed that a
lot
in you.
Yes,
actually. It's like, awesome, thanks for coming on to the show. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes roasting Izzy. Just
oh no, this is the podcast. This is what we do.
I was like, thank you for inviting me on to the Bully Izzy show. Like
Bully Izzy show.
I mean, I called you out on it on the SIP stream, but she's the same person who brings Nekuzar to a mid-power casual table.
What do you mean you have...
It doesn't have
What do you
any
mean you have
good stuff
Nekuzar
in
out
it.
and then Pheresis and you
combo-
just windfall us for 7 damage for 7 points?
I don't know what I don't have a Pheresis in there. I don't know what that is. The win condition on Nekuzar is Splinter Twin combo or maybe drawing cards, but
If-
it's nothing like super aggressive.
If
It's
the win
group
condition
hug,
is
if
drawing
anything.
cards,
Okay.
then you definitely need to add Pheresis into that. It's a
I mean, we lose life every time Nekuzar's ability triggers.
yeah. So
that's
Okay, you have
that's like
40
group
of
hugging
it.
me with a spiked bra. It's not the same thing.
So Izzy, Pheresis is a pretty cheap enchantment. I think it's 1 and a black, and it gives it goes, yeah, this creature deals damage and infect as opposed to every
I think Nekuzar is
it
loss
does
of life,
deals
not
1
damage.
Yeah, Nekuzar's damage.
So yeah, there's
Oh,
a
it
combo
is
where you just have
damage.
Rhystic Study out. You get 10 cards in hand, and then you windfall everyone for your 10 cards in hand and win the game.
See, I didn't even have
Yeah,
that in there. That wasn't
She
even
is
in the whole
downplaying
deck.
it. Her
two
Nekuzar deck
win
is really
things-
good and really annoying.
It has Niv Mizzet Curiosity
That's an
combo
infinite
in
combo.
it, and it has Splinter Twin
Yeah.
combo in
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
just a little infinite copy. It's not that good.
It's so easy to remove Niv Mizzet.
Yeah, then you bring it right back. It's your commander.
Not Niv Mizzet.
that's
Nekuzar's
sorry.
the
Yeah, you're
commander.
right, you're right.
Yeah, I know. I am going to be playing Nekuzar on Brouhaha Salt Factory with Mook Dubs.
fun.
He's on that one.
Mook
And
Dub's is
somebody
good
else.
people, friend of the show.
I don't know the other
Terrible
person.
takes on food, but friend of the show. Oh, the tomato pie that we were dogging on in his episode. I
Yeah.
went to pre-release in Philly with Chukimon, also friend of the show.
Yeah, Chuki
Yeah,
wanted to get one.
And so Shuck got him one, and I'm very disappointed. Chuki liked it, but I confirmed my hatred for it. It is the whitest white people food on the planet.
What's
It is
tomato?
literally it. Brace yourself. This is like
Okay,
the
go ahead, yeah.
povertiest of poverty food. It is
Okay, listen, man.
It
There's
is bread.
ice soup. Okay.
and tomato sauce.
Okay.
And I don't mean pizza sauce. I don't mean spaghetti sauce. I mean pureed tomatoes on bread.
Okay. Anything
Baked.
else?
And that's it. No cheese, no seasoning.
So
No
when you
cilantro.
say tomato pie, I assume you meant like Providence, Rhode Island style, like the cheese goes on first and then tomato. Like that's a tomato pie. Because that's
No.
when I hear
Nope.
tomato pie, that's what I think of. But so
A New Jersey tomato pie, which has worked its way into Philly, is literally bread, tomato sauce, baked. That's it.
I was watching another TikTok recently that talk about terrible pizzas, and they had something like that. It was bread, tomato sauce, and then like a slice of American cheese, and that was like it's from the
I saw that.
it was from the Pennsylvania area. I was like, man, Pennsylvania. What do you guys? This is why you guys are angry all the time. Like this is
Pennsylvania is a weird little place.
this is a good way for this is. I'm
It's
too close to
not that
Pennsylvania for me
weird.
to be saying this. Like
I'll say it. I'll say it. Pennsylvania, you weird
fine.
group of people.
We've got Amish people and apples
and intercourse.
and
I have a bone.
We
to
do
pick
have
with the Amish
intercourse.
though. When
Okay.
I went to MagicCon Chicago, we took a train from Pennsylvania to Chicago, and I got basically assaulted by Amish people the whole 11-hour train ride, both ways. It was like there was this one
Okay.
little Amish kid that just kept walking up and down the train, and on multiple occasions he turned, looked right at me, and did that like toddler cough where it's like like on my leg, and I'm just like, can someone come get their fucking Amish kid? And then like this one Amish dude was talking to this group of Amish people next to me, so he was standing in the aisle, but he would stand in my seat. Like, I don't mean in the aisle right next to me. I mean between my legs and the seat in front of me is an Amish guy just standing there. And I'm just mean mugging him for like 2 hours straight, just like,
Were you in the quiet car? Did you not want to say please get out of my personal space?
they
like
they
ask him
pretended not to
move.
speak English.
Oh.
And I say pretended because the whole time he was standing in front of me, when I was like, hey, excuse me, he'd be like, "Bubbada, bubbada, bubbada," whatever language they speak.
They
I don't know.
speak German.
It sounded like The Sims. It sounded like The Sims. It didn't sound real. I know German.
You should have yelled at him in
I know
Spanish.
German, and I know a little Spanish. These guys were speaking Simlish, and it was like biggity boggity boogity boog. But then I noticed later.
It could have been Dutch.
That's German.
Like Pennsylvania
Yeah,
Dutch.
yeah.
It's-
But
it's
later,
Pennsylvania
when that
Deutsch.
same
So
when that same
it's German.
motherfucker was up at the snack cart speaking perfect English, I was like, you motherfucker, you motherfuckers. And then when the weekend was over and we're coming back, guess who those exact people were fucking in the seats all around us again.
Look,
And I'm
Amish people
sitting
gotta
there
play
with
Magic
Comrade
too, man.
Snake. No, those Amish people, I was this close to fighting them. Like, genuine Comrade Snake had to keep me calm. I was this close to getting out of my seat and going full John Wick on a train full of Amish people.
Okay.
Anyway,
Alright then.
Magic the Gathering.
Don't take Doggo to Dutch
I'll fight 'em.
Wonderland. Got
I'll
it.
fight them. I'll fight them and their mutated little toddlers. Inbred weirdos.
Okay. They're not mutated.
What, are you afraid of insulting our Amish audience?
Well, I live closer to the Amish audience than you do. So
You know they don't have electricity, right?
They
They're
do,
not listening
actually.
to podcasts. No, they don't. That's their whole thing. That's their
Yes,
whole
they do.
thing.
No.
How much you want to bet?
No.
The,
I will bet a
the
lot of money,
Pennsylvania
actually.
Amish have electricity.
They are allowed to
All right,
have
I'll be
generators.
the annoying one that Googles something in the middle of the podcast like you normally do.
They are allowed there are different sects of Amish, and within the different sects are allowed to have different amount of modern amenities. They're allowed to have refrigerators. They are not allowed to have freezers. They are allowed to drive other people's farm equipment, right? So like if you hire a little Amish boy to come and like mow your field or something, he is allowed to use the tractor that you provide, but he's not allowed to use his own tractor, have his own stuff.
I just feel like you're making all this up. You
No, it's
you don't know this much about the Amish.
it is
No, you
I
don't.
do.
it's she's pretty much she's pretty on point on all this, by the way.
She's wrong about like 99% of the things she says.
I'm
That is
hardly ever
incorrect.
wrong. For one, I was right about the
That's one
Houndoom.
thing.
Okay, so like that's
one
twice
thing
today.
ever in the history of this podcast.
So and some of them do have like they have cell phones now too, because like you can't exist and get money and do stuff without cell phones. So like they just
Yeah, I
use
mean,
it differently than we do.
They have access
Limited.
to the internet now just because it's almost like a life need that you have to have access. Yeah, it's it's
Necessity.
almost a like
Yeah.
it's something you have to have. So
Like
almost
a human right.
almost.
Is it? I mean, you could
Yeah.
bring cash to the bank. And they own
Yeah, but
the
then
land.
they can't sell to like you can't sell out, right? Like you can't expand and reach.
Yeah,
Most
further
of them
markets
don't.
and
Most of
stuff.
them have the Dutch market in Pennsylvania. I know because my wife goes to it every now and then. They have the like market where all the outsiders come and buy their stuff from them,
Yeah.
and it's all cash. They don't have swipes. You can't
Yeah.
use cards. It's all cash.
There are some sects that are like using a little bit of modernity just specifically to get things going. But yeah.
I mean, literally, there were Amish people on a train, so I'm aware that they like interact with the outside world. But all of this is ridiculous if you think that the Pennsylvania Dutch are listening to Snarg's House of Sin on Spotify or Apple Music.
It's that one guy on Magic Rumspringa.
It's true.
He's like
Yeah.
Anywho, that new Houndoom card though is pretty dope looking. I would like one if anybody opens any. Please and thank you.
God, you're so bad at segues.
We just
no,
talked
we were
about
talking.
it.
We were
you
talking
forced
about
it
your.
into the
We were talking about
conversation.
your Leonin card, which shut down both the two green decks trying to ramp. But that was fine. No, it was good. Having you guys on was actually great. The energy was really good, and I'm glad. Like when you guys were on there, we were all having a really good time. Like lots of jokes me and had. Unfortunately, mostly at Izzy's expense, but here we are. Uh, uh,
I'm used to it.
no.
A
It
little
is
bit
what
at
it
Callie's
is.
expense.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course you have to.
God, it was so fun. It was so fun dangling that carrot in front of her. She was so
man.
confident. Oh my God. Listen, if you are listening to this and you did not watch the stream, go over to Cobb's channel and watch the highlight.
It's actually
There
our
was
channel.
one specific moment.
It's both of our channels. So that on Twitch, it's she and I both have access to it. But she posted her.
Yeah, but didn't you post the clip on your TikTok?
So I posted on the TikTok, and then she posted hers on her Instagram. So yes, they're both available to watch on whichever platform you want to watch it on.
Oh, I thought it was on your Cobbgoblin channel.
It is. So it's on the Cobbgoblin channel.
Oh.
I posted on Cobbgoblin. She posted it on her Instagram, and then it's actually a live clip on the SIP stream. So whatever way you want to watch it, it's available.
Go to any of those locations and
All
watch
the
the
ways.
moment. It was so great. It was like 3 or 4 turns. She kept bragging. She's like, "Oh, once I get this out of the graveyard, Doggo, you're so screwed. I'm dropping your life to half. You're so screwed." And for like 4 and every time I kept giving her a warning. I was trying to tell her in my drunken state. I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure that's going to happen?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Oh man, and then I hit her with that
It was beautiful.
fucking deflecting swat. So good. Honestly, I had like 5 other times when I like was gonna use that card, but then once she started talking shit, I was like, "No, I'm hanging on to this."
Yeah.
I'd save this
Yeah.
for later, like a little
Yeah.
The deck I was playing was
Like
the
a treat.
Necrobloom, and like it was doing a lot of work, but not doing anything at all. And I was like, man, I love this deck, but I was like, I can only like it's just not like it gets so close to winning, and then it decides to sit down at the finish line. And I'm like, so
Yeah.
I was like, cool, I've got all these tokens, I've got everything out available. What can I do now? And the answer is nothing, absolutely nothing. Like so.
No, your turns. You just kept talking, and you're like, "I'm gonna do this and make these tokens and do these things," and then,
Yeah.
I mean, like you did stuff, and then
Yeah, no,
and then
that's
nothing.
I gotta. I'm still gotta retool that deck because I like it, but it is more of a like just starts when it starts going. Like I've got it to the point where if it with the pieces out, I have an infinite loop that starts just by me dropping a land. So
Yeah.
like it's because that
I
deck.
mean, to be fair, don't to be fair, if you'd gotten out, what's the one everyone hates? Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Crater Hoof, yeah, which is in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you would have slapped that out, you're like 9 bugs would have been really terrifying.
Oh no, it'd have been great. I mean, even the
Yeah.
plant tokens that were out there, like I was making squirrels,
Yeah.
I was making plants, I was making food. No, that deck is just missing its like key winning piece to really just like slap it in there. But that'll still had a good time because that deck keeps things going longer. So
Yeah. Plus the format of the show, it's a lot of fun that we're kind of hanging out, drinking some drinks, and it's kind of like I know Magic New Girl had her whole Commander Night with Friends bit for a while.
mm-hmm.
It feels like that. It feels like you are experiencing Commander Night with Friends, just in a digital format. It was a lot of fun.
It's kind of like it's like merging our two contents together: Commander Night with friends, and then having drinks, and there we go, right in the middle there. So
it's almost like that's the whole gimmick. But no, it was honestly, I could say, like, if not very close to some of the most fun I've ever had playing Magic.
Oh, well, that actually means a lot.
Aw,
I had a really
look at
great time.
that.
Even though
Aw.
Iz was there, it was still some of the most fun I've ever had playing Magic.
It was a
Oh
really
my
good time.
God.
I've noticed when she and I play together, we always have a great time. So I was like, let's bring that experience to everyone else. And I'm glad you had a great time too, because man, it'd be really bad if we were just sitting there and everyone was bored. I was like, well, this show's gonna be long lived.
And look, here's the thing. Again, honesty is our biggest flaw in this show. There are
That's true.
too many boring nothing streams in this community where it is just people reading their cards quietly for 20 minutes while we wait for the next turn. And like I've been on I used to go on a lot of streams. There was probably like a 6-month period where 3-4 nights a week I was on a different person's stream, and some of them were fun, some of them were excruciating slogs that I would never want to do again, because it is literally, I mean, just you could hear a pin drop in the room. Like nobody acknowledging the chat, nobody talking to each other, people just reading their cards, and then really long, slow combos, and it's just like, this was not fun to play. So I'm sure it was not fun to watch.
How do we have?
But I can
How
say,
do we have 21
Yeah.
people watching right now? Like,
yeah. But I can say with confidence, and I'm not just saying this because you're a guest on the show, but the SIP stream is not that. The SIP stream has a lot of potential. Our episode was a lot of fun. Yeah, I definitely think you've got something there.
Oh, I'm currently on that. I'm currently on the stream circuit right now because that's something that I realized you have to do if you're trying to be a content creator. Even though I decided to do the stupid thing of become a content creator at the ripe age of 38 with a newborn. So I was like,
fine.
but I was like, I realized like, hey, if I'm not doing my own content, what I need to be doing is like at least once or twice a week, I need to hop into someone's stream if it's available. So it was like I make myself malleable, make myself able to hop in there. Like the best thing I can do is hop in there and like, I usually do my my blue blocker sunglasses on and I got my everything all set up and I'm having a drink and just going to town. And that's kind of long and the short of it. I try to be entertaining and then also just talk about the stuff we're doing to kind of promote it. So it's like it's the only way to get new eyeballs, right?
I will give you some light at the end of the tunnel. The stream circuit, you don't have to do it that long. Do it long enough that you build a lot of good connections, play with a lot of people, get their audiences seeing you. But then once you've built those connections, you can kind of step back and you'll retain those connections. Because that's kind of what I did. Like a lot of the streams that I was on, I'm still friends with those people. I still meet up with them. We trade ideas, we collaborate, that kind of stuff. But I don't have to dedicate multiple nights a week, hours at a time being on these streams anymore. And I feel like I'm still getting the benefits from it. So now, and take this as a huge compliment because now I'm very picky. If I appear on a stream, it's because I actually want to be there. It's because I like the people that are there and I think it's going to be fun.
That is a big compliment. So, no, that's, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like playing Magic, but I'm also pretty particular who I play with too, because I did before the streams for like a good 6 months. It was just hopping in certain Discords and just hopping in any single game that was going on between Friday and Saturday night. And like, I got someone told me like my Tiamat deck. They're like, I thought we were playing sevens. That's so high powered. I was like, this deck is not high powered. It's not even at its current. It was not even at its current iteration. Like where its current iteration has like a mana crypt and a one ring in it. Like it was back in November. It did not have either of those things in there. People are like, that dragon deck is way too high powered. I was like, look, just because I'm able to get these dragons out on turn 5 doesn't mean it's high powered. It just means like you should have a response to something I'm doing. Like,
no, I appreciate the invite too. Because
it was
that,
two
last
Saturdays
week? Was it
ago
2 weeks ago?
From this area.
Well, from when this is airing, it was almost 3 months ago.
Yeah. It was
sure,
mid 2024.
But it was
it being 2026 now is kind of wild.
Yeah.
It was right when my partner and I decided that we're gonna split up.
I clocked that timeline,
like,
by the way, and I was like, yikes.
Yeah. It was like right then, and I was like, oh, and you're like, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, well, I mean, like, I kind of do, but I also kind of don't want to be around anybody, but I also probably should like talk to people to get my mind off of things. And then I was like, who's gonna be there? And you're like, Doggo's gonna be there, and I was like, yeah, all right.
See, I had the opposite reaction.
We can do that.
When I found out Iz was gonna be there, I was like, man, do I really want to do this?
Wow. How rude.
No, it was excellent
Someday
having
I'll
you guys
stop
on,
believing
and it
you.
was such a fun time. Definitely, clearly we're gonna at some point we're gonna run out of new people to have on here, so we'll definitely be asking you guys back again. And then
But I guess don't ask us at the same time, since apparently Doggo doesn't want to play games with me.
I mean, I played, didn't I?
He's like, I'll go, but as long as Izzy doesn't bring that Leonin, I need to be able to search my deck. Like,
yeah.
No, there it is.
I'll just play Nekuzar.
All right, then I'll play Orfeo and I'll throttle it this time. I'll pull out Bloodthirster on turn 4.
Play freaking bats with like Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood or whatever it is.
I don't know these cards.
It's a life
I don't play
sucking
Magic the
combo
Gathering.
thing. That's right. I play Pokemon.
That's all right. Your segues are terrible. We're not. Stop segueing mid conversation. Segues.
You said you don't play
Segues are
Magic.
supposed to be bridges between conversations. It's
It
not.
was a bridge.
You
It's
can't
very
build a
short
bridge in the
one.
middle of a city, like on top of a building.
She's too close to Maryland, and that bridge got taken out. So that's the
Oh.
Oh,
Oh man.
What I was
That
gonna
bridge did
say
get
before
taken
you
out.
segued out of the conversation, the second time you did this to me, you can life gain all you want. Orfeo is actually perfectly tooled to take out life gain decks because I'm gonna hit you for 2.5 billion damage. You're not gonna be able to gain as much as I'll hit you for.
it's an infinite combo, which every time you start losing life and she gains life, and it doesn't stop until you're dead.
Yeah. Also, I do also run, if I have blue and white in my decks, I do like to put a Leonin Relic Water and Phyrexian Metamorph infinite combo in there.
And that's
a
why
little
no one
fun,
likes playing with
too.
the Azorius players. So
Oh.
I'll just bloodthirster you on turn 4.
Tiger, I'm sorry. Tiger, I'm sorry.
You're
I don't think there's a
bloodthirst.
blue-white Strixhaven community for me to equate it for you.
No, I don't think there is there? No. Black, white, blue, green, blue, red. Red, white. Yeah. That's it.
Did New
5.
Capenna have one?
No, that's 3 colors.
That's 3 colors.
What about Neon Dynasty Kamigawa?
It would be the one with Connive. Kamigawa didn't have clan things.
Are we talking
You
about
should name it
sets?
after characters then.
Nope.
Are we talking about sets? Because I know
You know what about sets though? People with the blue, with the Bloomborough, right? Okay.
I was gonna tee it up too. I was like, talk about sets.
Hold on,
because I know Taco has some
Let
very
me-
specific feelings about some sets recently. So
Let me cosplay as is smoothly segueing into a conversation. So anyway, the next topic that we have written on this piece of paper here. No, as I had talked about earlier, I did the pre-release for Bloomborough, and it was the first set all year that I didn't hate. I do think Bloomborough's a little like underpowered. Like I think it's very good in a limited environment, but like everything Bloomborough does, it seems like other sets just do better. But it's a fun set, and I like the theme, and it's like the first Magic set this year, except for maybe Eldraine, which everybody forgets even happened.
but that happened in 2023.
That actually felt Magic. Did it?
Yeah, that was last September.
Oh yeah, okay. So
was
then
last year.
no, I still stick to my point that it's the first like themed set this year that actually felt like a Magic set and not a weird like I don't even know how to describe why I hate Thunderjunk and Murders at Markov's House so much.
Well, I know why I don't
All right,
like
so
murders.
I'll do the
Because
same.
they're cringe.
I'll do the same thing I said every single time. Wizards, if you happen to be listening to listening to Snarg's House of Sin, I would like to let you know, and I think every single set that you do, every
not
single set that
listening
you
to
do
us.
is fantastic, and you could do no wrong. Call me, call my people. We're here to work with you. Now, if you're not listening, no, I couldn't stand Murders of Karlov Manor. I thought the delve mechanic was silly. I don't know why the plot mechanic wasn't inside Murders of Karlov Manor. But it was just more. I thought delve mechanic was silly. I thought the suspecting a creature was silly. I thought like the whole weird, not like manifesting creatures like for that. I thought that was just kind of overdone. I will the shining grace of Murders of Karlov Manor being the surveil lands because that's still pretty powerful. Vein Ripper,
Yeah.
also pretty powerful. And the one deck that I ended up purchasing an entire collector booster box specifically to get one card, and that's Leyline of the Guild Pact, because I run 5 colors.
That is not economically recommended.
No, do not do that. This is bad.
Buy
Bad.
singles.
Yeah. Well, this was the beginning of it. I was one card that I wanted, and I was like, look, hopefully I can go ahead and like any of these cards I'd end up selling back. I'll make some money off of, maybe, who knows. I even pulled a like an invisible ink card, and it's just not good. So
Yeah.
just,
Well, so it's funny that your perspective is all like the cards in the set and how it played and the mechanics. And mine is just strictly, why are they wearing fedoras and peacoats?
Because it's
Like, why are
Ravnica.
there?
Because it's a
But
murder.
but
It's a
but it's
murder
not real
mystery.
world New York. Like,
No, you're
the-
thinking New Capenna
it's
because
just-
they had fedoras and everything.
But even New Capenna, so the difference between New Capenna and Markov's house is with New Capenna, it felt like it was a magic plane that was inspired by Art Deco New York. Whereas Murders at Markov's house felt like it was magic stuff bled into the real world. And that was the same problem I had with Thunderjunk, is that I feel like the physical references and the costumes and the like literal use of an actual Earthian magnifying glass and not some sort of magic version of it, like it just felt too on the nose, it felt too lazy, and it felt like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we just threw this character in a peacoat and had them doing Sherlock Holmes style murders? And
So
go ahead,
the
I'll let you go
issue-
before I keep going because I got a lot.
The issue that I have with murders is similar to that. I feel like the artist prompts for the artwork had nothing to do with Ravnica.
Yes,
We have a very established art style for the plane of Ravnica that set
it
did not follow.
It
I mean,
it
they
followed
really
a
could have just
Sherlock
called it what it
Holmes
was,
cover.
which is this. It could have just been this. Just call it what it is. It's Ravnica Clue.
Clue.
Yeah, it's all it is.
Yeah.
It's Ravnica Clue.
Yeah.
Which, if they want to do things like that, I'm okay with it, but don't make it a part of the Magic story and don't make it a full standard set. Just release a box set like that product. I have no problem with that product in a vacuum. I have a problem with that product and its theming because it takes place on actual Ravnica, canon to the story, and all of that actually happened. And the bigger thing that kind of bugged me about the whole thing, before we move on to Thunderjunk,
Is it because of murdering
because
Tessa?
it's actually almost all the same complaints for Thunderjunk. But so the story right before Murders was Eldraine, right? Which was about, Will and Rowan, the divide between the kingdom.
They lost their
post
spark too.
March
They
of the
were
Machines.
de-sparked too.
Yeah. So basically what I'm getting at is that it was the continuation of a major event, which I'm sorry, but like March of the Machine, I think what occurred in that story is being downplayed too much. The entire multiverse, every plane of existence that we know of, was invaded by a murderous machine army that had to have killed at least half the plane. Like, if your plane didn't lose half its inhabitants, then that's lazy story writing.
New
Because-
Capenna did it because they had Halo, which is done by the Angels, and that's literally the antidote to Phyrexian oil.
Well,
Well,
no,
they
no,
had
no,
a
but even
reason.
New Capenna lost a lot of their citizens because the Praetors invaded before all that stuff, before they got the protections. So, no, even New Capenna had, like, they lost a lot of their citizens.
And then they also
to the
brought
war.
down like I want to say half the city on the Phyrexians. They like the Riveters
Yeah.
literally unriveted the city and brought down the entire thing on them.
Exactly. So, like, that's the kind of shit that was happening across the entirety of the multiverse. And then Eldraine actually I think Eldraine dropped the ball too, personally, but Eldraine at least kind of tried to continue, like, hey, there was a multiversal war, there are consequences, we need to address that. And then we hop over to
Ixalan.
old Murders, and it's like,
You're missing Ixalan.
let's have a fun little murder mystery.
You're missing Lost Caverns of Ixalan in there too.
Wow, I always forget that set happened.
Yep. No, because they
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it, but I think that's the idea. Like the whole storyline behind Murders of Karlov Manor is Tessa being upset at Kaya for not being there during the invasion of Ravnica. Like that's a big part of leading up to the murders of Karlov Manor is the fact that she blames Kaya for not protecting the Orzhov syndicate specifically from everyone. She goes, I was literally fighting the Phyrexians in New Phyrexia, and Tessa goes, well, what did that do for Ravnica? Like you left us behind. So they kind of mention it.
Yeah. No, they definitely mention it, but we're following a murder mystery on a plane that feels largely unaffected. Like imagine if you go to watch like a World War II movie and it's like right after World War II ended and it's just like a private investigator looking into a couple that's cheating on each other. Like that is not an interesting story in 2 days post-war Europe.
So
Like
I'm gonna play advocate on this one. I don't want to be fighting
Sure.
for fighting. I was like, I don't really want to be fighting for WotC and Hasbro on this one. But other current storytellings, we'll go back to Netflix version of Daredevil. Back it was still technically MCU canon. So
Yeah.
they were talking about that, and they said, "Oh yeah, things have just been a little crazy since the incident, but we're just trying to make things better, like as we go along." The incident they're talking about is not 9/11, which I immediately thought of first. No, they're talking about when the entire world got invaded at New York by the Shatari. And they were like just trying to move on with their life. And I think that's kind of what they're going for here. Yes, they did just have a massive post-war. This isn't 2 days after. They kind of set the timeline there. This is months and months after. So they're trying to pick up.
Right. So
that's the whole point of Murders of Karloff. Sorry, I'm going to talk over you real fast and I'll let you go.
That's fine. That's fine.
So Murders of Karloff Manor, the whole point of them having the party at Karloff Manor was to celebrate the fact that Ravnica had finally come back to normal after being invaded. That was the purpose of the party. That was the purpose of her hosting it. And therefore,
correct.
Yeah. I'll say when it comes to...
And I'm saying that's bad. I'm saying like you have a universe crippling event like March of the Machines and then fade to black 6 months later and it's a party at someone's house. I want to know what the fuck happened to Ravnica.
Celebrating the fact that they brought it back from what it was.
I want to see them bringing it back. I want to know what happened.
That's why no one wants to read
aftermath.
anything in Reconstruction South. Like that's
no, I don't like that comparison.
Yeah, you brought it there. That's like no one wants to. No one wants to read the literature of what happens there. Let's go Gone with the Wind, where I get to see the party that happens after Reconstruction South during Reconstruction South.
For example, because you brought up Marvel, Marvel has, in my opinion, largely dropped the ball post Endgame because most of the stories do what Murders did, and they're jumping too far away from the event, and it becomes like, you know, them playfully referring to it as, oh, the blip happened, and then it's like no real consequences. And in my opinion, one of the only storylines that handled it well was the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is entirely about these characters, how their lives have irreversibly been affected.
Heavily underrated show, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought
underrated.
I thought it was beautiful. Like I was like, this is like these people lost their homes. A lot of people.
Yeah, right.
You want some more PTSD in your story.
No, I just want like, okay, again, getting back on track. Screw you. What I loved about Falcon and the Winter Soldier is that yes, they addressed what happens when half the countries on the planet disappeared and randomly come back. What happens to the characters' lives? We find out that like Sam Wilson can't get a loan because he hasn't been working for 5 years because he didn't exist. Like the world has changed and they address it and they show you all the different ways, all the agencies that no longer exist, the agencies that have been repurposed. Sharon Carter's a villain now. Like all of these things have
really
changed.
Really hot villain.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we are seeing how the MCU is irreversibly different than it was prior to Endgame versus the way they're doing Markov's Murder House is that it feels like they didn't want to tell that story. They went from, hey, alien god invades all of the universe and kills a lot of people to, well, we fixed it. What? Like, you know what it reminds me of? Actually, the best reference I can think of. Cobb, are you a Star Wars guy?
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? The start of episode 9 when fucking Poe just is standing before all the people and he goes, well, Palpatine came back somehow. And we're just as an audience supposed to... Yeah. And as an audience, we're just supposed to be like, okay, well, sure. No one liked that. And I don't like that in Murders, we're just supposed to be like, well, we fixed Ravnica. Hello?
Well,
How? Why? When?
they-
What resources?
They go into a little bit how they fixed it, and they also went into the fact that like there's a reason why the murder happened, and it's because of how they feel like the people who were suspects were all constant. Like the Tristani, that one chick from the Tristani, she was upset with how everyone handled the reconstruction of Ravnica. Look, man, I don't like defending the set, so like somehow I'm put into a box where I'm like defending a set that I didn't like. But I think they did a good job of like Tarantinoing
question.
the without the feet, the Tarantino the story back a little bit of like
Gotta have the feet.
how they got to where they was and why like, hey, not only upset, like Krinko, you were also like giving the Phyrexians like weapons. Like they go back and talk about this and they're like, hey, you're a shitty person for doing that. So, or a shitty goblin.
Wow.
I gave him one.
Yeah.
I gave him a solar flare.
Yeah, very white.
But that's what I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
see that.
You know the old literature statement, show don't tell,
Yeah.
is that in a lot of the storytelling and the world building of murders was tell. It was, hey,
definitely.
Krenko, you did all this stuff, and like, but what are the consequences of that? I want to see.
I mean, he almost got
destroyed.
murdered.
I mean, fair enough, but like,
Who died?
Tessa.
Who got murdered?
Spoilers from the set that came out in January.
spoiler from
Spoilers.
3 sets ago. But like, I think honestly, I would be more okay with sets like Murders and Junction if we had gotten more. If they didn't jump so soon, because
I can
Okay.
segue into this.
I'm mid
If we've
sentence.
gotten more. Okay,
No, do
finish your sentence.
your segue. I'll just bring it
Okay,
back.
I think one of the worst things that has happened to Magic is that we have
Correct.
taken away blocks.
I can agree with that.
Because we used to get the same amount of product for standard releases. We did. I've done the math. I've looked at it. We're excluding extra sets like Modern Masters and Secret Layers, excluding those. For standard sets, we're getting about the same amount of product per year. But it feels like a fuck ton more because we are going to a different plane.
I'm going to
every
disagree
time.
with you, which is hard because I actually kind of agree with your core point.
So if the beginning of the year, the first 3 sets were what? Ixalan,
Just murders. It was
So,
Murders,
we'll
Murders,
pretend-
Ixalan.
Ixalan was last year.
Was it really?
We'll pretend it was
Shit.
Ixalan, Murders, and Thunder Junction were one block. We could have delved into the story a whole hell of a lot more and
why I
saw what
searched that up.
happened
Okay. So
in between. Because you would still get the same amount of product and not feel
we
pushed
actually
around in
only
the
got
story so
two
much.
standard sets this year, which was Murders in late January, early February, and then this is our third. And then Outlaws of Thunder Junction. The problem is
two reasons I'm going to disagree with you. I'll start from a story, and then I'll from the story perspective of what you said, and then from the product fatigue of what you said. From the story perspective, I don't think you have to be on the same plane all year if the story is written well. And I say this,
I'm not saying all year.
for whatever, like a block. You said that one of the reasons we get product fatigue is
block.
because we jump from plane to plane. I don't think that's a problem because I think of the year 2021 and that was Kaldheim, Strixhaven. What the hell was right after Strixhaven?
AFR.
Say the full thing. I don't know.
Adventures in Forgotten Realms.
I'm not going to count that because that's like not story related. Well, because that's the point that I'm trying to make is the story here. Hold on, I have the dice. Oh, and then it was the Halloween ones, I think, or something.
Oh, that's right. AFR.
The point is,
The Halloween ones were the same. Were
yeah,
kind
I did
of a
like
block,
that. I like the block. I
there's
like
2 sets. That's not a full
Hey,
block.
that's more.
But my point.
Some blocks were 2
is
sets.
that there was an overarching story that connected all the different planes we were visiting. So yeah, it was a bummer that we only saw Kaldheim for 1 set and then immediately jumped to Strixhaven. But it's like there's an overarching story leading to March of the Machines that eventually had March of the Machines. That was March of the Machines, Aftermath, plus the Dominaria United and all that stuff. But like, see, like all of that story, I think, to me personally, this is opinions, from Kaldheim until March of the Machines, I thought was good storytelling. And we jumped from plane to plane to plane to plane. That didn't bother me. What's bothering me about these new sets is that there doesn't seem like there's kind of an overarching story, but they can't seem to make their mind up what the overarching story even is. Because like the whole thing with Nahiri hating planeswalkers and wanting to kill them all, we're just not even talking about that. There's no like Easter eggs about that. Like there's nothing. And then the civil war between Will and Rowan, which turned out to not really be much of a civil war, happened on that set and we moved on. Now we're like, it just seems like they're not telling an overarching story, and the consequences are also not connecting, at least not on a level that I would enjoy, in my opinion.
I'm curious how long when they're going to like kind of run it back through, because I was just looking at how the basically how the sets were done. Because like, yeah, we went from Innistrad, Midnight Hunt, and Crimson Vow, which were completely separated. There was no connecting story between those two, and Kaldheim, when Forward Collects was running amok on Kaldheim.
Yeah.
And then in Strixhaven, there was no Praetors running amok there. It was literally just like they were introducing a new plane, introducing the School of Magic. Not too much of a story there, other than the fact that, oh, we find out that Liliana in her free time is being a professor to kids. Like
A professor?
We're like, oh, sweet. But then like, so, but we had an Innistrad Midnight Hunt and Innistrad Crimson Vow. Like that was Tovolar's struggle for power against Arlen Cord, and then the marriage of Edgar Markov, and which was like kind of cool, and like they brought all that. But then we go back to Kamigawa. So like it's like AFR, Innistrad, both the sets, and then like we're both like little like breathers, like aperitifs, like get you.
But maybe they were just better written stories than Yeehaw Junction. Let's go on a bank heist.
I mean, I think
people like Eldraine more. Kallenheim was sweet because it was like Valhalla stuff, so people were excited about that. We really liked that. And then like Innistrad is always a banger, which Ravnica used to always be a banger too.
The Innistrad set was pretty hated, and I only know this
the day-night mechanic.
Well, it was a lot of things. I only know this because I really loved that set.
Same.
And was constantly told by everyone how wrong I was, that it was good and it was fun.
I loved the werewolf set. Like I built a Tovolar deck. Yeah. I love it to death. I was like, I think this is great. I like the day-night mechanic. On one of the like on Callie's Commander Night with friends from all over the world, what got cut because she couldn't hear it and no one could hear it was the first time it went from day to night. I played Can't Fight the Moonlight by Leanne Rimes and danced to it, and everyone could see me dancing and everyone could see me like flipping day to night. No one could hear Leanne Rimes, the song, playing at all. And like everyone's like, it just looked like you were dancing and trying to do some bit and we couldn't hear a word of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, so no one could hear Can't Fight the Moonlight. I had it all teed up for the beginning of the chorus. You can try to resist. Like had it all teed up, dancing. It's a big bummer on my part.
But he's a little silly.
The other thing that I disagree with you on is that the fatigue has anything to do with jumping from plane to plane. The fatigue is just purely Wizards puts out a new product every 1 to 2 months, and it's getting exhausting. And we're not even talking standard sets at this point, because you know how Magic people are. Magic fans and Magic creators have to buy everything. They can't skip a set regardless of what it's legal in or what it's canon to. Everybody has to buy everything.
I've thoroughly tried to skip Assassin's Creed, and I still ended up spending more money than I wanted to on it.
I've skipped most of the sets this year.
I really like it.
But I mean, like, what have we had this year? So we had the 2 standard, or the 3, because now Bloomburrow's out. So we've gotten 3 standard sets. Then you had Commander Masters. You had Modern Horizons 3.
There was no Commander Masters. There was no Commander Masters. It was just Modern Horizons 3.
No, Commander Masters was this year.
No.
Was it not?
No, that was last year. That was last July.
Okay.
So
here's
this also kind of proves your point, is that like
that we can't even tell when stuff came out.
Yeah. Because
it all flows so quickly. But all right, cool. So we got the 3 standard sets, right? Modern Horizon 3, Fallout. and then Assassin's Creed.
That's 6.
I feel like I'm missing something.
You're not. I mean, other than the secret layers.
Nah, I don't ever count secret layers.
And technically, we had 2 sets because they were gonna split up Thunder Junction and the Big Score. They were gonna split it up into a set and an epilogue set, like
I'm so glad they
like
didn't do
the
that.
Aftermath. But when it
yeah.
comes to sets this
and then-
year, oh sorry,
No, I was just gonna one last the fucking Assassin's Creed packs, $8 for 5 cards.
I completely hear you, and I think now I can even cite your monologue on why you hate the expanded boosters more than anything else. If you're gonna not put any common cards inside a set, then just make all the uncommons common, all the rares uncommon, all the mythics. This just because you don't have any common cards in there doesn't mean they're not any common cards. It just means you're overplaying the hype. Yeah, and you're making me pay $8 for less cards.
But the thing is, they're absolutely doing it as a selling point, because I can't tell you how many people I've had to like rage at when I'm like, oh, this set's such a ripoff, and their first response is, yeah, but there's no commons, so the value's better. No, it's not. That's not how it works. The uncommons are common.
So,
they just have a different color set symbol. That's all.
They are that's also because of like Popper.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, and maybe this is tinfoil hat. I don't think WotC gives one iota of a fuck about the format of Popper when they're deciding these products. They absolutely,
that's true.
They absolutely cut the commons out of that set as a selling point to trick people into thinking it's a more valuable set.
I mean,
So this isn't the first time that they've had.
Yes, they did it in Aftermath, and it was the same selling point.
They also did it,
and
in
people
Doctor
fell
Who.
for it then.
They also did in Doctor Who,
and it was the same selling point, and people fell for it then.
But it was the collector booster packs had the same amount of cards as regular collector boosters.
Yeah,
but they do have there is a banned list for Popper.
Yeah, I mean every format has that. But,
so
they are a money grubbing $1 billion company. When they are designing these sets
that I love so much, love very much. At no point am I saying anything. At no point is Austin the Cobbgoblin saying anything bad.
You heard it here. Cobbgoblin said.
But
no.
they do think about what is banned when they.
I don't know. I think
I 100% disagree with you.
I kind of have to disagree.
I don't for one second think the people at WotC, the people sitting in their corporate offices who have a mandate to earn money for the shareholders, I don't believe for half a second that they're going, all right, guys, what about Popper? No, they're going, how can we maximize the profits?
We will table this. I am going to schedule Jerry Thompson to be a guest here soon. He has been on set design for Wizards of the Coast.
I was just going to say that they were thinking about what's going to be banned or what's going to be stuff like that. Cranial Ram wouldn't have been printed. Nadu wouldn't have been printed. Like, those are the two big things. So, like, they would have thought immediately what was going to be affected, and Nadu wouldn't have been printed at all because it's a busted card. You can't fix the Nadu problem without just taking out Nadu. And then much like Cranial Ram, you can't fix the Cranial Ram problem without. Then which is a Popper example for you without.
So, but they have a playtest.
Yes, okay, but
to try to mitigate this. This is a thing that
when we get your friend on here, which by the way, that's a staple of this podcast too. That loves to plug people who aren't here while we have guests that are here. But
eventually, I'm going to talk about Cocktails and Commanders at some point.
When if we can get your friend, they will most likely confirm what I'm saying, that when the set designers and the playtest team, they are given parameters. There are rules, there are business decisions that are made way above their head before they ever get to do anything. So the design team for Assassin's Creed, I would bet money they are not the ones who made the decision to cut commons out of the set. That was a business decision that was handed down to them, and then they were told to make it work.
No, I don't disagree with that. But then what I'm saying is if all of the uncommons that were planned for the set were printed as commons, there would have to be a huge updated ban list to exclude all of those now downshifted cards.
Well, it wouldn't be downshifted, is my point. No, no, no,
It
no, no,
would
no, no,
be,
no, 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 because there would
because
have been
they're
no decision to cut the commons. So we're talking time machine, go back in time, and whoever makes the decision to cut commons out of the set, we put a bag over their head and we pull them aside, and they don't get to make that decision. Nothing is downshifted because that's the original shift. The original shift is the way Magic sets are supposed to work, is you get commons, uncommons, rares, mythics. So if anything,
I'm
if anything,
I
if anything,
understand
they were
that. I'm
upshifted.
talking about with the we have
Yes.
now.
Because and to be fair, I don't know the order of operations at WotC. I don't know if the design team starts working before these business decisions are made. Like maybe they started the Assassin's Creed set before the decision to cut commons was a thing, and then those cards had to be upshifted to uncommon. But I don't think for 1 second that the design team went to WotC and said, "Hey, we think it would be a good idea to not have commons in this set." That was purely a business decision, in my opinion. And then the design team had to work around it, is what I'm trying to say.
But there's reprints that are already uncommon cards, is what I'm saying, in the Assassin's Creed set. So, if they're already uncommon and we had them printed as
then
common,
those ones wouldn't be printed as uncommon.
I'm confused. Moving on. I like it when you layer different alcohols in the Commander and Cocktails show, because then you get cool colors and that looks nice.
It's the one time I did it was
welcome.
for the 4th of July for Narset Enlightened Exile. And that video did so poorly because I posted it on 4th of July.
Oh, okay.
No, it's because I do cocktails and commanders, that's kind of what started the whole shtick for the Goddesses in the Civ stream. Is I just noticed every time I was like talking to anyone or like watching content, people are like, "What your commander says about you?" And I was like, "Look, I mean, my voice is not going to be added to this because number one, I firmly believe that like maybe some people who look like me, slightly overweight, bearded white dudes in their 30s, like I think we've had a lot of time to talk about Magic, and I think our voices well resounding in the space. So the last thing I need to do is be one unfunny dude, or at least less than funny dude, hopping in and saying what your commander says about you. But what I did know is because of my real life job, I do sell wine and spirits. I have access to a lot of wine and spirits. I walk into liquor stores every day. I used to sell to on-premise, which is bars and restaurants. And I had to come up when I was coming up with selling any sort of beverage. I had to come up with like cocktails you can make with it. That way it's like, here's something that's going to maximize your profitability while also using the spirit. So like I've got enough of a cocktails background because also I bartended, and I was like, you know what I could do is I could pair up a commander with a kind of cocktail and kind of like say what I'm doing and why I did it. A lot of the time is, hey, these are the colors spirits that I use and it works out well. Or like for the Krinko mob boss one, I turned it into just shots of fireball until I was filmed passed out. Because that's kind of like what it is. It was like, oh, it's a goblin. He just makes more goblins, and like the boost. It's just kind of like one of those ones that kind of resound with the So like the most recent one I did, when this airs is probably much later, but I did Glarb, and I couldn't figure out what to make. And every time I asked, like, I was looking through Google, I was like, I need to know what I need to try to figure out a cocktail to make. I looked at all my cocktail books, nothing that didn't involve like sour mix and Midori and just kind of like ultra sweet. And I'm trying to avoid that. Just trying to find more classic cocktails, kind of blend along with more stuff. I pulled up ChatGPT and I was like, look, I need a cocktail. Let's make it. It needs to be frog themed. And it gave me like the same ones I already found on Google. It's like, all right, no Midori. And they're like, oh, how about this? I go, no sour mix. And that's how I got the Frog Prince, which is technically just a sparkling Tom Collins with elderflower. But I was like, oh, it had a name to it. It had the elements that I needed to, and I could actually make this. I was like, this is how I work. So I might be using a little more ChatGPT to help create cocktails, which I did not think was going to be an issue. But hey, it has the information and a lot more than a lot of
We love AI on this podcast.
I know how we feel about AI on this podcast, but it's just more of a look. I firmly believe you know how to, like, when it comes to text generation, if you know how to use it, like the kids right now, they're learning how to use AI effectively. Not to
jokes aside, the way you're using it is not unethical. We're not mad about that.
No.
asking ChatGPT to give you a drink idea is not the kind of AI we hate.
No. And also learning how to use it using it effectively. Being
Uh,
like, because I will tell you, I've done it with that Chat GPT, and I was like, because I was helping build out a cocktail menu, and I was like, let's make a drink, and it told me to like put a bunch of egg whites in a thing and shake it cold. I go, won't that kind of ruin the emulsifying effect? Therefore, just making me serve cold egg whites to people and making them sick. They're like, oh yeah, good point. You don't do that. And like, so, so you do have to like.
I like it when you correct GPT when you're like, "Hey, dude, give me this," and you're like, it gives you something that's wrong, and you're like, "What about this?" And it's like, "Oh, my mistake. Let's
It was
do
like, you're
blah, blah,
absolutely
blah,
right.
blah,
That
blah,
will make
blah."
people sick. Don't do that. And I was like, so
Don't do that.
My favorite thing was when they did the Chat GPT magic integration, and you could give it your Mox field, and it would rate your decks. And it was
Oh, I
horribly
didn't know
wrong
that.
every
That's cool.
time, though.
Oh,
It placed almost all of my decks as either a 9 or a 4, and I was like, they are neither of these numbers.
humble
Yeah,
brag over
it was
here.
pretty funny
Humble
though.
brag.
It was a meme for like 2
have
seconds.
you done a Niv Mizzet deck yet? Or
I don't play blue.
not deck? A Niv Mizzet?
No, I have
Oh,
not
no, no,
done.
no.
I have not done a Niv Mizzet
Yet?
one yet. I've got a few people who've requested some, and I've got one guy who's been requesting one for like the last 4 weeks. So I definitely got to make his.
Well, now that you're gonna only be like an hour away, is maybe when you're in town for SCG Con, which is a thing that all 3 of us will be at.
I could special
Yes.
guest.
Those are things we can do.
Yeah, maybe we can all meet up somewhere for SCG Con.
Commander and cocktails.
So
Commander
yeah, cocktails and commanders. Yeah. So yeah, but that was.
Oh, cocktails and commanders.
But yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
Jesus.
so that's what I started creating it, and that's where I kind of got all the information from. And I don't generally use ChatGPT to come up with it, but sometimes like I needed to get a commander from Bloomborough, and I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. And like none of my cocktail books were being helpful, and none of my years of experience were being helpful.
In this exact situation, using ChatGPT to help you get to the conclusion faster is kind of no different than if you were to just Google green drinks without these 2 drinks in them, and then click through a few links until you find
Well, I
something.
mean, if you Google it, you get Chat GPT.
Yeah, you
That's
get it
true.
different,
They
yeah.
integrated
'Cause, like-
they integrated ChatGPT into Google, and it's wrong a lot of the times. Apparently,
It's very wrong. I can't, but it's the first response, so I have to like,
Yeah.
oh, hold on, like I have to dig. So, hey,
Yeah.
like, man, as coming from a kid who was, so I've got a degree in history, like coming from there, like teaching kids how to research and not just use Google and take the first response. Like this is just all helpful in ways for teaching people how to actually do better research other than just relying on the first thing that the search engine just puts out. So I'm happy with it.
Oh, we learned that when we were when I was in school, we had to learn how to research for our.
It doesn't mean
English
people
papers.
did it.
Right.
Most people used the first link they found.
We literally had to do
Oh
our
my God.
citations, and if the teacher put in the thing and it showed up on the top of the Google search,
You are an adorable little precious gem. As a jackass former jock who cheated his way through high school, I'm telling you right now, making me cite my sources did not prevent me from using the first fucking link every time. You use the first link to type your paper, and then you go through and you find 6 other links and you just cite them. And you hope your teacher doesn't look into them, and they almost never do because high school teachers are overworked.
Yeah. Or do what I did in college, which use Wikipedia to write your paper, but then go to Wikipedia's bibliography and then cite the sources that you got them from there. And then
Yes.
So
bibliographies are really easy to cheat, like really easy. Yes.
Really?
You're an adorable little gem.
You did. People did.
oh, they did.
Do. didn't
Anyway,
follow
my
the
favorite
rules.
Chat GPT screw up on Google. Somebody took a screenshot. They asked Google, what's JFK's full name? And it said John Fortnite Kennedy. And I love that. So
I mean, look,
That
the
was
way we
pretty good.
keep talking about it, like Google will tell you that JD Vance had sex with that couch. Like it's the more we keep saying it, the more it just keeps putting out there. Like
yeah.
it's just
Moral of today's podcast: be careful because somebody might have fucked your couch.
And on that note,
always buy your couches
welcome
here.
back, everybody, after our hiatus to Snarg's House of Sin. Hopefully, we are back in full swing. I'm saying this almost a month, 2 months before we're back, so I don't know what's going to happen. But hopefully, you're listening to this.
It's a
Hopefully, we're
surprise.
back. Hopefully, we've got more episodes in the can. And thank you for sticking with us through the hiatus. Cobb, do you have any words of wisdom for our fans, or anything you want to plug? Anything you want to tell them before you leave?
Absolutely. I'm Austin. I go by TheCobbGoblin on almost all my socials. I post a new cocktail every single Thursday on TikTok. It's going to be paired up with a commander. I then proceed to post the same video on Instagram on Friday. So if you're on Facebook, you will probably see it the following Monday. And then also every other Saturday, around 8:30 Eastern time, Magic New Girl and I have a lovely stream called the Sip Stream, where it's just fun chatting and having a few drinks while also playing Commander with some of your favorite creators in the Magic the Gathering space. So some well-known names are coming up there, and we were very lucky to have on the first Twitch stream. We were able to have Dago and Izzy from Snarg's House of Sin on there, and that was a fantastic game. So please go follow us on Twitch. We're actually, at the time of this recording, we were only 9 followers away from being affiliates. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
I'm going to bank and say by the time this
You
airs,
got your
you
watch
are an
time?
affiliate.
I would hope by the time
Yeah.
our Friday airs, because I've done extra streams to hit us that 7 in a month, close to it. I think hopefully by the time our Friday show goes on, we're completely affiliates. So
Do you got your average
it just
viewers
needs 3.
good? You
So
just
we had
need the
our
followers?
first stream, we had average 13 viewers. So as long as I did a few extra streams where I just played Arena, and then I did one where I just opening up packs from Bloomborough, just to build up stuff inside the can for Twitch, and then we can go back to our regularly scheduled content. So yeah, hopefully we're hitting what's called affiliate by then if we haven't already, and then sky's the limit from there. We're having a good time. We're just trying to get like a lot of fun people on there. Trying to keep some of our guests close to the chest because we're getting more excited about them, but like we do have to I didn't really want to tell everyone about Talia until like literally like Wednesday this week, but like Callie goes, we need to do it immediately, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's a big thing to talk about, so we're pretty excited and really happy about it.
We do the same thing with our guests. We don't always announce who they are until previous guests have gotten their day in the light kind of thing, and then when it gets closer that way, because also we've had guests cancel on us, and if you announce them and hype it all up and then they cancel on you, it's like, well, now I have to break that news. Yeah,
Never mind.
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah, go check out all the stuff. Sip Stream over on Twitch, super fun, super cool. Go check out the Cobbgoblin on TikTok, like he said.
Yep,
and,
it's under
There will be links in the
you can find me at
description
your
below.
couch.
Yeah.
Don't fuck your couch.
Yep, don't do it.
Okay, bye. And we're done.
Fuck your
Podcast sucks.
there.